Welcome to my brief introduction to hybrid mesh architecture and zero trust. In this video, I'm going to go over the architecture that is recommended by Gartner and explain what it does. And in some cases, I'm going to give examples so you can better envision how it works, and also about the zero trust and how those two principles work together. With hybrid mesh architecture or cybersecurity mesh, anyway you wanna call it. First, what it is. The mesh architecture refers to current environments or modern day enterprises, what they use and where the perimeter is, which in short means it's everywhere. So connecting those differing tools and devices and SaaS applications into one environment and providing security and granularity for it is what hybrid mesh architecture is about, for the purpose of having a consistent policies, centralized point to coordinate your response to incidents, and enables you to be adaptive, to have automation, which is going to take care of the most urgent things that might show up on your to-do list. Where we are at with implementation of hybrid mesh, it's about 50% of organization are either building it or in a planning stage. It does seem a little bit low, and there is a reason for it. It is because we have lots of challenges in doing it. When you think about average endpoint has about 10 to 15 solutions, then you talk cloud, then you talk to SaaS applications, variety of devices where data resides that are being used, and variety of other platforms and tools that are being utilized need to be integrated, and that is a big job. It is a complex job, and API integration and high skill shortages are hard to do. So I'm going to go over how to simplify it and how to get the best results out of it. As far as zero trust architecture, it is a framework where you never trust anyone. In other words, kind of paranoid, which security is all about. What you do is you're making sure that this access is granted on a principle of least privilege access, and then also helps you verify identity between different parts of your environment. And then you can have certain device checks, you can have checks against AD, and you can have any checks that you can think of to make sure that certain things are in order to proceed further. Let's say you are at your endpoint, you went to your email, and there is a checkpoint right there, making sure that the device is company device. Let's say making sure that the device has anti-malware enabled, or many other things. That helps with microsegmentation, and microsegmentation helps with stopping the lateral spread of data and the malware alike because of the data loss prevention principles and making your environment secure. Let's get started. As far as why is this a security imperative to get both of those concepts inside of your environment to accomplish a high level of security, is one number, about $10 trillion annual damage projected. So that is the number that's unbelievable. And in order to counter those risks, you're gonna need several things. You're gonna need a simplicity and integration of a variety of tools you want to need, and you're going to have urgency that is combined urgency from technical side of things and management side of things to work in concert to provide for the best results possible. And then finally, there are costs of inaction. We're going to go over these right now. So how does hybrid mesh architecture work? First, this screen on the screen, you're going to see the principles of how hybrid mesh is supposed to work. As you can see, it's a full mesh between all kinds of tools. So when you look on the first layer outside the center, you're going to see all the tools that people are utilizing. You might not have all of them, but you're probably going to have most of them. Then we're going to see on the outer layer, you're going to see all the points of access where security is needed and where data loss prevention is needed. So on the left-hand side, you see all the devices like servers, laptops, phones, tablets, you name it, they are there. And they are connecting to, let's say, right underneath a SaaS application, or they're connecting to cloud in IaaS or PaaS, or maybe they are connecting to a location on-prem, connecting to other users, or going to connect to applications, homemade or otherwise. So let me go to the center of the screen and what is being integrated here, other than a full mesh access to all of these things. First, security intelligence from many different sources. Check Point itself has made it easy to include other intelligence sources by connecting them and using their intelligence as a checkpoint to checking against what the next step is going to be. This is helped out by identity and identity providers that you are integrating with to accomplish a zero trust and to accomplish how and who and when can access certain things, and provides you a platform for best way to have least privileged access. And then finally, on each of these checkpoints where we are checking movement either from outside in or within the environment, there's going to be checks for policy, checks for posture, and then reaction depending on what said use case is. And on the top, you're going to see a operations layer. This is how this is enforced. My company has decided to have enforcement closest to your destinations. So let's say your destination is a application. We're going to have enforcement right next to the application. Same things goes for the email or endpoint, no matter what kind of endpoint it might be. If you're going to the cloud, different set of policies are going to be applied to a different access. So you get it. It's going to be enforcing all of those below, and it's going to enforcing these things in an intelligent way using all the available tools you have and their intelligence. From there, what else does this does? It is imagined to have a centralized one pane of glass to deal with all those disparate tools and platforms. And security is embedded across all those distributed components, whether it is from Check Point or from other source, it is irrelevant. As far as Check Point goes, we integrate with those other sources. Others do it differently. And we have the concept of Open Garden, where right now we are integrating with over 70 different vendors to provide for a best posture possible. And we are using that to simplify security out of and across hybrid IT environments. So let's put a use case that you can relate to. So let's say you have your CTEM that has discovered something out there. Let's say it has discovered that you have a vulnerability on your environment in one of your servers, could be a target of attack. So what would, let's say in this point, what would Checkpoint do? Again, everybody does it differently. Checkpoint would use that intelligence, create a automation out of it, and send it to, and that intelligence can come from anywhere. Let's say you have recorded future, or you have a cyber Checkpoint has, and it's going to be applied accordingly. In Checkpoint, we apply it to a Verity solution that is integrated across the platforms. Verity solution double checks whether or not that danger is real, so emulates it and see what comes out of it before it is implemented. So you decide to implement it only if we are absolutely certain and the threat level is high. So what would Verity do? It would, from there, create a virtual patch on that for that server, and we would also create a ticket for, let's say, whoever is owner of that server to patch it properly in order to eliminate that risk. That is one situation. Another situation could be, let's say, Recorded Future sees a new email campaign and has the where it's coming from, what kind of botnet is coming from, what the text is within the email, and that kind of information. Currently, we are integrated with our email solution to automatically get that intelligence within our solution and account for it, whether it is in the current mailboxes that is already delivered, or something that is on, let's say, Microsoft side, or something that comes in the future and can remediate right there and there. Then, so that is another use case. Let's say, what do we do with AI? You guys are utilizing AI, I'm sure, in one form or another. Everybody's a little bit hesitant, and rightfully so. So if you're utilizing AI, there should be tools right next to the AI that make sure that you are not entering, let's say, information that should not be public. So let's say you're not entering company documents, you're not entering company plans, you're not entering a source code, and all that stuff that you don't want people to have because it can damage your reputation, or it can get your secrets that you don't want out, whether it is technical arrangements or otherwise. So once that passes all those critical checkpoints, then and only then you can utilize your tool. And you can utilize it for whatever you want, but utilize it safely. And if there are some things that are attempted to be utilized and then blocked, those can be accounted for and create a logs or audit trail, so you can use those logs and audit trails to better train your people. I hope this kind of gives you an idea of how this works. I hope it also gives you an idea how you can integrate your tools, whichever they might be, let's say your DLP tools or your EDR tools, into this. You don't have to change, in Checkpoint's situation, you don't have to change provider because we do have this open garden principle that we integrate with two third parties. So we can be an addition that basically quarterbacking all of these efforts and making it one pane of glass on your behalf. Now a little bit about zero trust architecture and why is it urgent to adopt it. So there, as you know, the level of breaches involving human error or stolen credentials is still all the way on the top. And there are limits to how much security people have for the lateral movement to prevent data exfiltration or to prevent malware to being transported internally. And there is a much higher adoption rate for zero trust at about 86%, and that is great. And also government agencies are right now demanding and requiring to have a zero trust, which is good because it's going to improve your posture dramatically. This is an example here that we have to have a location independent work. Google Beyond Corp has enabled zero trust, and that helped them get a hybrid mesh or hybrid environment secured. So let's go and see how that works. One of my favorite slides, and sometimes I need only this in order to explain how everything works. So we're on the same page. I'm going to go and explain what it is. The PIP stands for intelligence. The PDP is a policy decision point. PIP is a policy information point, and PEP is a policy enforcement point. So from there, we're going to go, and this is really going to go into the nitty-gritty of how this works. So from left to right, so we have a users that want to go to all the way on the right, destination, let's say whether it is LLM or internet or any kinds of different environments, SaaS, PaaS, you name it. And how do we secure that transition? So let's say a user wants to go to a SaaS application. And again, I'm going to utilize how we do it here. Again, you can skin that rabbit many different ways. So what it does first is going to be the having a source and identity verified. That's one of the policy information points, as you can see. And we going to have here on the left identity providers that are going to see whether or not you can go there in the first place, whether you have the appropriate credentials, whether those credentials allow you to access that environment, and that is going to be a first check. And that can be on many different platforms. Can be on a VM, on a SaaS, no matter where the request is coming from. It could be a request from the IoT device going outside to go and get updates. Could be anything really. So there afterwards we are checking what access and what data would be going from one end to another. So there we have your DLP, you have all your tools as the middle is all the policy enforcement points. So whether or not you, depending on what goes where, you're going to utilize one of these tools and make that informed decision with information and intelligence from all the sources that are already integrated with your environment. It's on the right-hand side. And here are some of the things we integrate, like Fortinet, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, so on and so on. And then you have a threat prevention, which is your tools for, as you can imagine, depending on route, could be either IPS on a firewall, could be a DDoS on your DDoS solution, could be antivirus on your endpoint, and could be WAF for your applications. So once that both those checks have been passed for access, data, and malware, then it's gonna, and only then it's gonna be going to the destinations. You can think of million different paths that this can take, and each of them would have to go through this set of checks in order to be able to access the final destination, which is great. You are having the intelligence in real time. You're checking the credentials and identity in real time in order to provide the real-time prevention. And if not, the tools that would catch it could trigger, let's say, an EDR response, or could trigger a response inside of the SaaS application. Let's say a situation where somebody is coming to a SaaS application, but they are not coming from your environment, and you know your environment has only that many email addresses where it can come from, would be blocked. Even though if you have right credentials and everything, if you are not coming from the right device, you're not checked in a right identity provider, that stealing identity at that point would be useless. I hope that helps in understanding of zero trust and be moving forward. So here we're going to touch base with what and how does it help to have this architecture enabled in your environment. So it is everybody wants unifications of tools. Some unification require you to have one provider and one platform. Others, like us, can be specific to just trying to integrate with vast number of tools, or somewhere in the middle. By implementing this, you can, from get-go, speed up your detection and response and automate it properly to remove over 90% impact on your environment from a get-go, just by design of how this works. The help is also that you can get your operational costs down by 25 to 35%. And we do have a tool, especially with Verity, which you can utilize to give you exact numbers, how much would that save you money-wise. And the single pane of glass would help you have better insights into your environment and help you make better decisions on how to fortify it and better ways to implement it. So example here is a retailer halved the incident response time, which is pretty good, considering that some of those response times can take days after a certain vulnerability has been, and sometimes even months after certain vulnerability has been discovered. Having it done in accelerated fashion after adopting the mesh architecture is a great way to improve your posture. Well, I did mention some of these things before. I'm going to reiterate a couple of things and some new ones to see what the benefits of unified management are. So we know that everybody has their own set of tools, and having those unified is pretty much goal of any security expert. Then you can have, once you have the mesh in place, it is faster deployment because everything is already more or less automated or half automated, so you can have deployment and a time to protect in a really short time. Same thing goes for time to resolution. Some of it can be immediate, more or less automatic. Otherwise, there can be tickets created or somebody informed that something needs to be done. So you are speeding up the time to resolution, And one thing that I think people kind of forget, and it's very important, it's that you have consistency across your different platforms. Because if you have a policy that requires certain thing, having consistency across different platforms would meet that requirement pretty much to the dot. So much about that for now. I can imagine you guys can see the benefits of all of this. Here we see some uh, real world examples. I think Google we mentioned before, mesh integration we mentioned. Here is when the misconfigurations are a big part of the deal, and having a good tool to scan your attack surface is really important to have, and even more important is to be able to use that intelligence immediately and get a resolution to a threat as soon as possible, so not to experience this Capital One over 270 million loss. That would be pretty much all I had. I didn't. To close this, I tried to be on the point and short, still about 26 minutes, but I think one could get quite a bit out of this presentation. So we kind of did everything to here on this slide. We did point out the importance of the mindset and how to integrate and simplify. What I would like to point out is a security mantra that proactive investment is cheaper than damage control. And so that is what this would do, implementing this idea and architecture into your environment. And another thing is involvement and support from executives is critical. It's critical for them to understand how this helps your environment and how does it make safe. So once they understand it, they're going to make your job easier to start on the road or to continue on the road of hybrid mesh. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments below and have a great day.